The latest updates out of Philly are stirring things up, and it's not just because of the hard hits during joint practices with the Browns. Players like Ben Vansumeren, Sidney Brown, and even A.J. Brown made headlines with moments that lit up the field and left fans raising eyebrows. There was unexpected flash, some tension in the air, and decisions that raise more questions than answers. If you're a big Eagles fan, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Let's get into it. Things got spicy and a little bit chaotic down in South Philly as the Eagles wrapped up their second and final joint practice with the Browns on Thursday. There was plenty to cheer for, and a few moments that'll have fans scratching their heads. First up, how about a little razzle-dazzle from the unlikeliest of heroes? Fullback Ben Vansumeren, yes, the former linebacker, snagged a pass just off the line. It lit up the sidelines for a second, even though it's probably not something we'll be seeing much once the games count. Or maybe it is? The Eagles have kept Vansumeren in stealth mode all camp long, and that might be intentional. When asked if his absence from the offense was injury-related, OC Kevin Patullo said it was partly about recovering from knee surgery, but mostly just playing it close to the vest with fans and reporters watching. And speaking of knees, things nearly turned ugly when Browns safety Grant Delpit took a cheap dive at Vansumeren's legs after the catch. Vansumeren popped up like a rocket, let Delpit know exactly how he felt about it, and earned a semi-apology with a pat on the back as he jogged away. Then there was Sidney Brown, who basically played like a human missile. He lit up rookie tight end Harold Fannin at the 2-yard line, sending him flying like he'd been hit by a freight train. A few plays later, Brown came back and leveled David Njoku after a catch, then stonewalled rookie RB Dylan Sampson just before the goal line. Safe to say, Brown brought the juice. The pass rush had some fun too. Nolan Smith got home for a sack on Joe Flacco, while Jihad Campbell came storming up the gut for what would have been another. Drew Makuba had a sweet interception at the goal line after Deontay Johnson let one bounce off his hands, and Dallas Goedert pulled off the play of the day. He took a short pass and made Browns DB Miles Harden look silly, with a slick sidestep that left nothing but air between him and the end zone. But hey, it wasn't all sunshine. One of the bigger head-scratchers was Keely Ringo not getting any first-team reps. The battle for that second corner spot is still wide open, and his absence there definitely raises an eyebrow. Also not ideal, the offense was a little flat, missing big names like A.J. Brown and Landon Dickerson, injuries, plus rest days for Lane Johnson and Saquon Barkley. Things felt super vanilla. Short passes, nothing downfield, and not a lot of sizzle. And with the whole thing wrapping up in just over an hour, it felt like a preseason appetizer you kind of regret ordering. The A.J. Brown situation is inching into concerning territory. He was limited earlier in the week but didn't suit up for either session against Cleveland. Nick Sirianni was his usual tight-lipped self, saying only that Brown's working through something and the goal is to have everyone full go when the real games start. Oh, and Makuba, who had that nice pick earlier, also got beat badly by Njoku on a deep shot from rookie QB Dylan Gabriel, who had been quiet until that point. So, a little rookie roller coaster there. That's a wrap from South Philly, where the vibes were hot, the hits were hotter, and the questions heading into the season just got a little louder. And what seemed like just another day at camp took a sharp turn with some breaking behind-the-scenes info that changes everything. Nick Sirianni strolled up to the mic Thursday morning rocking that trademark grin. But the air in the room? Man, it felt tighter than a tee shot on Augusta's 12th. You could practically feel the tension humming like a muscle car stuck in neutral, still powerful, but missing a couple spark plugs. And right now, those plugs are named A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. This Eagles offense is built for fireworks, but lately it's been more like watching someone fumble with a lighter in the wind. Brown, sidelined again with that nagging hamstring, stood on the sidelines in street clothes. Smith, meanwhile, is still working through back tightness that's been hanging around way too long. The two have barely practiced together all camp, and that silence is starting to feel loud. Thursday's practice against the Browns only turned up the volume. With both star wideouts out again, Jalen Hurts looked like a man trying to lead a band where half the instruments are missing. He coughed up a fumble, took more pressure than you'd like, and without his elite targets, the offense flat-out sputtered. Reporters didn't waste any time. Did AJ have a setback? One asked. And Sirianni? He dodged like a seasoned vet. Our goal is to get all these guys ready and be firing on all cylinders once the season hits. Translation? No real answer. He tossed in, he's working through some things. which honestly sounds more like a therapist's note than a medical update. The concern here isn't just that Brown's missing reps, it's the pattern. He was limited earlier in the week, gave fans a brief glimmer of hope, and then boom, back on the sideline. That kind of stop-start rhythm doesn't just mess with timing, it stunts the connection between Hurts and his top dogs. Chemistry's hard to fake in week 1 if you don't build it in August. Oh, and as if that wasn't enough, the O-line's got holes too. Landon Dickerson's still out recovering from knee surgery, and Brett Toth has been thrown into the fire at left guard. Combine that with Saquon Barkley on rest days, and Lane Johnson also watching from the sideline, and you've got Hurts behind a makeshift wall trying to survive the Browns' pass rush. Myles Garrett even blew past backup tackle Matt Pryor for what would have been a highlight reel sack. When asked why Brown and Smith haven't gotten much work together, Sirianni gave the old training camp has ebbs and flows line. He said every team's going through similar stuff and that each player's on their own schedule. Cool. But with every day that passes, that schedule feels more like a guessing game. Make no mistake. When healthy, Brown is a game changer. He put up over 1,000 yards last year with a league-best 15.4 yards per catch. And without him and Smith rolling together, this passing attack ranked a brutal 29th last season. That forced Hurts to lean hard on Barkley, which isn't exactly the recipe for a dynamic offense. Joint practices are supposed to be the closest thing to real football before kickoff. But without your top targets, what exactly are you preparing for? The Browns' defense swarmed Hurts, and you could see the frustration bubbling even in Sirianni. Too many negative plays, he admitted. It's hard to score when you're going backwards. Yes, young guys like Johnny Wilson are flashing some promise, but let's be real, they're not Brown or Smith. The Eagles' shot at another Super Bowl ride depends on those two being healthy and in rhythm with Hurts. Right now, that rhythm sounds more like static. The clock's ticking toward week 1 in Dallas, and unless those mystery injuries clear up soon, Philly fans might be holding their breath all the way to kickoff. The vibe feels off. Some players are shining, others are missing, and the offense looks stuck. There's talent, but no rhythm. If things don't click soon, this season could start rough. Subscribe to stay locked in on all things Eagles.